Hello everybody, peace. So today we're going to be talking about what exactly the dynamic of narcissism is with the codependent.
From beautiful seeds to flourishing legacies.
Now, I listened to something recently and it was a video and it was a dialogue between two people who are very well known in the narcissistic community. And by the way, I'm recording more videos like this because personal story, I have had a lot of experience with people who I believe who are narcissistic. They haven't been tested, it's not official, but they do have narcissistic qualities, both the covert kind and the grandiose and the communal, and let me throw it all at you, so many types. But the point is that I got to a stage where I realized that it's important to know that, and if you're in my newsletter, this is something that I actually sent a message recently, that when I was in the thick of it, the one thing that I wish that I knew and the one thing I felt so alone in was the fact that I felt alone. I felt misunderstood. I felt like no one really understood it. And whenever I would bring it up, I felt like there was this kind of dis-ease, discomfort, and that really affected me. And I know if there was people who I was listening to, who I felt I could relate to, that it would have changed so much for me, so much for me. So that's why I'm making more videos like this. And by the way, this channel isn't only about narcissism, it's about so many things. It's about really growth, it's about trauma, it's about transforming that trauma into the gifts that we can leave behind as legacies. It's all about legacy. It's all about the legacies and the great things that we do before and after the work that we do on ourselves to move through the pain that we've been through. And that's really the essence of this channel. So back to this thing I was listening to. I was listening to this conversation between these two people in the narcissistic community, and not narcissists, one is, but the other one is more of a codependent. But anyway, the point is they were talking to each other, and there was this theory that came up, and it's called the dual mothership, right? Sam Vaknin, he coined the term and everything. And I began to think about this and really think about it. And my mind went to the very first thing, which was a precedent in our religion, and it is the very first narcissist, right? Very first narcissist, and this was the devil himself, Iblis. We call him Iblis. And what happened was there was this instance where he did something wrong and he didn't take accountability for it. He became a victim. He blamed everybody else, and then he strategically used all the things that he had learnt and patiently waited to hurt those around him for the sake of just hurting them and to receive his kind of revenge, so to speak, because he felt he was deserving of it. And that is basically the essence of where narcissism comes from in Islam. So now, as I began to think about this, it wasn't so much the idea of dual mothership. It makes sense, but there was something that was just missing inside of it. And it was this idea that it's not just dual mothership, right? It's not just dual mothership between, and dual mothership, what that basically means, I should probably define that a little bit more. Dual mothership is basically the idea that a person can fulfill the things that a mother should be fulfilling for a child, and people are particularly susceptible to this if they have had a wound in their childhood from their mother or whatever the mother was supposed to represent in regard to energetic wise, like the affection and the love and the no boundaries. Does it sound familiar? Yeah. So basically there's this idea of the dual mothership. So the narcissist has it, and then the codependent has it. So the codependent is the one who, so it's a dual mothership. They both are each other's mother. They both are each other's children, and it kind of like fluctuates and it kind of goes back and forth. And what ends up happening is when that relationship is finished, the fight of the narcissist is constantly to individuate. They are constantly trying to move away from their mother, who they have merged in a relationship, this metaphoric mother, right? I hope I'm not losing you. There are so many videos on this. Please do click and check them out. But the point is that it hurts even more because this person represents the mother. Now, and there's so many other factors involved in this, the shared fantasy. I'll make another video on that as well, but there's so many different factors. But the point is that it didn't feel to me like as if this was answering all the things that I was asking. It didn't make sense fully. And I realized why it didn't make sense to me fully. And the reason why is, and correct me please if you have a deeper understanding of this theory, please. But the idea was that the relationship between the narcissist and the codependent is a relationship of someone who thinks they are God, or they have the power of God on the person who is their creation. I made a video before. It is all about enmeshment. It's all about connection, and it's talking about the difference between the creator and the creation, and how we as Muslims believe that there is a separation and how there is beauty in that. Check that video out, please. But the idea is that this thing, right, this behavior is something that the narcissist is merging with the codependent, and they are doing everything that a creator should be doing, right? What does a creator do, right? You don't have to be Muslim to hopefully answer this question, but the creator sustains, they provide, they love. Our creator, as Muslims, we believe that our creator is the most loving. He is the most grateful. He is the most kind. He is the most he is the protector. He is the sustainer. He is all of these things. And there are 99 names that we call this one creator by, and they all define these characteristics of our creator. So anyway, this narcissist, right, is trying to be the creator, and he was trying to make out as if this person who is coming in and merging with them and enmeshing with them is the creation. And the reason why it is so unsuccessful, why these two will never work, right? Never successfully, never in the feelings that they are trying to attain, or the fulfillment, or the gratitude, or the fullness, is because of the simple reason that the narcissist is not the creator. He is not, she is not the creator, right? And this codependent, or this person, they have put everything that should have been in the real creator into this relationship, and now there will only ever be this emptiness there, because the part that should be filled is not being filled by themselves and by the creator who has the ability, the capability, and the kindness and the subtlety and all of the beautiful characteristics to fill it. So this narcissist, and you'll see this as well, you'll just observe, if you're in a narcissistic relationship, just observe, or if you see someone who is in one, if you want to watch a movie, if you want to hear about it, it's everywhere, right? Just notice the way the narcissist communicates and the energy that they bring towards the codependent or the people around them. It's like, I'm right. I think that's the most obvious thing that they say, right? I am great. I am brilliant. I am more than I am. They don't say this, obviously, but the reason why they are so overt most of the time is because they feel such a lack inside of them. Their inner critic is even worse than anyone else's most of the time. So they are over sharing, over identifying with being greater than they really are, and they're blaming everybody else. They are the ultimate victim, right? So anyway, and then it can also come in covert ways as well, where they won't say that I am this, I am that, but that's why I said that it's like the energy is very toxic. It's very, I am right and you are wrong. And now I want to talk about the shared fantasy just a little bit, right? So we talked about that idea of the narcissist thinking they are godlike, right? And that isn't a mother thing, that isn't a father thing, it's a mother and a father thing, but they think they are godlike. And God is unlike, as Muslims, we believe that he is unlike anyone or anything that he has ever created, right? And he is unique. Whereas this narcissist is the most common now trait that is being shared around society, and the codependent is feeding it. And that is why this relationship will never work, because the narcissist is not the creator and the codependent is not their creation, and the narcissist is not responsible for all of the good stuff that happens to the codependent, and the codependent is not responsible for managing all the emotions of the narcissist, because no human can ever really do that for another human and still feel like as if they are living their best life, right? So the shared fantasy. Now I want to share, I was thinking of making another video about this, but I want to share an experience that I had about this shared fantasy, because that is the relationship between these two. There's this covert, there is this hidden contract between these two, and we have all been this one, hopefully not the narcissist, but many of us are codependent, right? Or have been through that experience of codependency until we've done some real work on ourselves. But what happens is the codependent and the narcissist, they have this hidden contract of this this understanding of this truth, this lie, this fantasy, this shared fantasy between them both, right? That this is the creator, they made me, and this is the creation, you made me and I made you, and you know how it is, it goes back and forth and all of that things. So that's the shared fantasy. And my experience, I mentioned how I've had quite a few experiences until recently with a narcissist, and I do believe, and as Muslims as well, it is a Muslim belief, but I have experienced that we will be tested in something until we pass it, right? And with every new level, there is a new devil. I think Shakespeare said that. With every new level, there is a new devil, and the devil is the ultimate narcissist, right? So if you want to stick to it in that arena of toxic people, then you're going to meet a different kind and a different kind and a different kind until you finally face the patterns that we have inside of us. I say we, you and me, and then we will finally break out of that. And it's one of the most hardest things a person can do, and I'll talk about that in another video, hopefully. But the point is that there is this shared fantasy between them, so the roles are as they are. So what happened was, there was somebody who I was in communication with, and I remember we used to leave messages about things that we were working on, right? It was a purely business thing. It was just a contract thing that we were doing together. And anyway, what happened was, we were working together, and I remember the messages this person would send in the group, and I would read it, and I would remember thinking, this is probably the fakest message and communication, because I was doing it back, right? That's the real like whopper. I was communicating back knowing that none of this is real. None of this is real. If you've read Lisa Jewell's book, it's called None of This Is True, but it's a really good book because it talks about covert narcissism, and a lot of her books do. It's a thriller. Anyway, just putting that out there. So anyway, what happened was, I remember thinking that none of this is real. None of this is real. And then they would communicate with me, and they would act a certain way, like they would, it was all about control. And then by the end of this relationship, as you would, situationship, whatever you want to call it, there was this thing that I would do with this person, and that would be to give them the platform that they did not deserve, because I was overcompensating to meet their needs, right? That's the codependent in me was doing that. And this person is probably the most important experience that I've had with a narcissist in my life, because this was the hidden narcissist. The obvious ones are the ones you can really see from afar, but this one was a hidden covert narcissist, and it changed. And this was the point where I was like, no more. And anyway, because it was so painful, right, to break out of that reality that I was creating myself, and we're both in this reality. And by the end of it, there was again this essence of like, I made you, like all the good that has happened is because of me, right? Have you ever experienced that with someone, with your narcissist? So anyway, that was the communication that it began that way, but it was a shared fantasy. It's this false relationship, this delusion that we are in, and it really begins with you opting into this hidden contract between you and this other person, or persons, or society, or community, whatever it is that you're dealing with right now. So anyway, I know that was a lot. That was a lot of information. I really hope that you found some benefit in it, and that you understand that no one is God. No one has the power over you or the permission to do anything to you that is not approved by you, right? And this is me talking as a Muslim woman as well, because there is this misconception that women are abused and oppressed, and Muslim women, but we are, and I speak for myself especially, that I have never felt more free than I have by embracing the true creator and all of the things which are connected to the creator, because my place is the creation. So when a person comes and they try to feed me this idea or this hidden contract or this gaslighting and manipulation and guilt tripping, there's so much of that as well, right, which is all manipulation, then it doesn't sit right with me anymore, because you're not my number one. And because my number one is there above the seven heavens, above his throne, then who are you to tell me that I am not worthy or I must do this to get your approval, right? So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I do have a free downloadable for you. I'm laughing because that was a lot. But I do have a free downloadable for you. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everyone. Share this video with anyone who you feel might benefit. Stay blessed. Peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.